Last year's Deadpool and Wolverine was a major success for the box office, for rated R movies, for Marvel, for Ryan Reynolds, for the fans as well. I didn't love it. I think story-wise it wasn't great, but just as a Marvel and X-Men fan, it was a fun time. It was a great movie theater experience. And so a lot of people assumed, oh, we're going to get Deadpool 4 now, obviously. But Ryan Reynolds has made it very clear that he doesn't want to do another Deadpool movie. He's stated that going forward, he sees Deadpool more as a supporting character, which I think is a great idea, especially because we don't know how exactly he's going to be incorporated into the MCU, if he is. And honestly, this news kind of makes me think maybe he won't be. But I think, it's going to be interesting to see how things go here. And I think also Deadpool's a character, there's only so much you can do with him as the main character, without going too extremely over the top. And I think Deadpool and Wolverine was the perfect capacity of that. But again, like I said, the actual story there wasn't up to the usual from a good Marvel movie. So I think having Deadpool, especially because he's more of a comedic relief character, he works great as a supporting character, and that's Ryan Reynolds' plans for the future. Now, we don't know if he and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine are going to be in Avengers Doomsday or Avengers Secret Wars. My assumption is that they will, at least Secret Wars. But a couple of weeks ago, it was reported by Variety or Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, I don't know, one of the big trades. They put out an article saying that Ryan Reynolds is currently writing a script for an X-Men movie, a Deadpool X-Men team-up movie, which was weird that this was put out in a big article like this, especially because it's not been greenlit by Marvel Studios. In fact, Ryan Reynolds hasn't even pitched it to Marvel Studios. So that was honestly the biggest reason I didn't make a video about this in the first place, because I was really excited when I first read the news. But the fact that it hasn't even been brought up to Marvel Studios, who knows if it's going to happen, and especially just looking at the plans here, and I don't know if Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios would want to do this movie. But then again, maybe they would. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, basically the article put out this news that Ryan Reynolds was writing a script for a Deadpool X-Men team-up movie, and it was described as a Deadpool team-up movie with 3 to 4 X-Men members, and that was basically all the details given. We didn't know who those characters were going to be, but now we do. So if this is to be believed, My Time to Shine Hello, of course, frequent scooper we talk about here on the channel, not always correct, but I feel like this sounds pretty legit. And, just for the sake of this video, we'll entertain the idea. But they put this out saying that it'll be an X-Force style movie with Ryan Reynolds obviously writing, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, Josh Brolin's Cable, and Storm on his team as well. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So let's break that down a little bit more. It doesn't say specifically it is an X-Force movie, although my assumption, if this ends up happening, that's probably what they're going to call it. But that alone, I think, is interesting, but I think a nice way to go, especially because the way it's been described, it's not going to be a traditional, X-Force from the comics movie. It's going to be very much basically a mini X-Men team, but they can't use that name because the MCU is going to use that for their upcoming reboot. But obviously we got the X-Force in Deadpool 2. Not for very long, but they were there for a little bit, and they were originally going to do an X-Force spin-off movie. So for our remaining members that we have from that, we got Peter, and we got, what's his name, Shatterstar? The guy that I think Louis Tan played him, and he obviously came back in Deadpool and Wolverine for a small role there. So it'd be cool to see them come back. Peter, I have to assume, would be back just as a supporting character to Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool. But let's talk about the team that's listed here by My Time to Shine Hello. So Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, as soon as this idea came out, my assumption was, okay, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine is going to be on this team because Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, they are best friends in real life, and seeing how much audiences love this pair in Deadpool and Wolverine, how could you pass up giving us more of that? I think this is a great idea. I've been really scared and concerned in the past year with the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, with all these rumors and potential reports of Marvel Studios just wants to keep Hugh Jackman as our main MCU Wolverine going forward. I don't like the idea of that. I think we need to move on. Don't do a half reboot. Give us a full reboot, full new cast of the X-Men. Hugh Jackman, like, I mean, the multiverse saga is ending after Secret Wars, but the way this is described, I can almost see this as, you know, I think by the end of Secret Wars, there will still be a multiverse. It'll just be different. But I do think maybe Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine will exist in a separate universe to our main 616 MCU. And so I think people will understand enough that, like, okay, if we have a new MC Wolverine in our MC X-Men movies, that'll be different from what Hugh Jackman is doing in Wolverine in these Deadpool movies. I think that can work. And it's different because it's not like how DC, which they're also going to try and make work, where they're going to have two different live action Batman running around at the same time, but in that case, they're both Batman movies. There's the Batman, and then there's going to be the DCU Batman the Brave and the Bold movies. This is going to be, we might get MCU Wolverine movies with the new actor, but we're not getting solo Hugh Jackman Wolverine movies, just in these Deadpool team-up movies, which I think can work. And again, I really love the dynamic between those two characters. Now, Cable. Josh Brolin coming back as Cable, I think, is great. I was kind of disappointed when we didn't see him at all in Deadpool and Wolverine, but he was one of the highlights of Deadpool 2 for me, a movie that I didn't really particularly love, but I really loved Josh Brolin as Cable in that film, and he said he wasn't even invited to come back for Deadpool and Wolverine, so to bring him back, especially because I don't think we're going to be getting Cable in our main MCU 616 X-Men, at least not for a while. So why not give us this badass version of the character for now? I think that's a great idea. Now, Storm is where it gets a little weird for me because this is the one that's like great character and we all want to see her done well in live action. But I don't think this is the place to put her, because this feels almost like a waste. They're almost inevitably going to make her part of the team of the 616 MCU X-Men, and I think she's going to be a big part of that. Again, putting her here just feels like sort of a waste. It feels like the equivalence to, we're going to do a Kraven the Hunter movie in the Sony universe rather than making him the villain in an MCU Spider-Man movie. It's like, it kind of banishing her to, a different universe and this other team rather than our 616 X-Men, which like Wolverine, they could totally do two different Storms, but I think that just doesn't make sense for a character like Storm. And also to do I trust Ryan Reynolds with X-Men characters, but not our main X-Men characters like this, because obviously he's a comedy writer, and I don't want our main live action Storm, we want her to be done right, we want her to be done justice. I don't want her to be the butt of a joke in a Deadpool movie consistently. I think she deserves to be in an X-Men movie. So this is the one that I don't think fits, and I do think that once he pitches this to Marvel Studios, if this is actually the case, that they would say no to Storm. I think Cable and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, probably they're cool with that, but they'd probably say replace Storm. And here's my ideas. First of all, bring back Domino. I think she was a pretty cool character in Deadpool 2. Again, also didn't come back in Deadpool and Wolverine. She was a member of the X-Force. Put her in there. Why not? Especially if you want a female character on the team. Yeah, bring in Domino. Another one, bring back Colossus. I mean, I'd have to assume Colossus would probably be involved in some format because of his relationship with Deadpool. He's friends with him. He's been in all three movies. And Yeah, so that just sort of makes sense to have him in here. But I mean, have him on the team. That just makes complete and total sense right there. And then finally, if you're doing a like a separate universe thing, like give us some longevity with Channing Tatum's Gambit. Obviously, we know he's coming back in Avengers Doomsday. I'm excited for that. Honestly, if that and or Secret Wars is the last time we see him as Gambit, I'm fine with that. I'm very excited to see him make a comeback. But like, you know, if they want to keep going with this, they could do that. But similarly to Storm, though, I do think they're going to have like a more traditional, like actual 616 X-Men team Gambit in the near future. So that's the thing. But, this I could see working more than Storm because at least like, this is a previously established multiverse variant of Gambit, whereas Storm, I mean, there's the possibility they could do Halle Berry Storm. I guess that would make sense. But I think it would probably be a new actress, and that just wouldn't make sense to cast two new Storms and for the MCU. But whatever. I'm excited for this though. Again, I don't know if it's actually going to get greenlit, especially because this would happen after the multiverse saga, and doesn't sound like it would be in our 616 main MCU timeline. But hey, I like the idea of it. Give me more Deadpool and Hugh Jackman Wolverine. Bring back Josh Brolin Cable. Again, I want to see Storm, but probably not in this. So anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about these reports that Ryan Reynolds is developing a sort of X-Force movie, a Deadpool X-Men team-up film with Deadpool and 3 to 4 X-Men members? What do you think about this supposed lineup? And if you're like me and say what Disney's probably going to say, remove Storm, who would you replace her with? Let me know in the comments below. And thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit the subscribe button so keep up to date on everything that goes on in the Marvel life.